This may be the most significant indicator that divorce may occur in a marriage. When couples leave their issues and problems unresolved, one person tends to suffer more than the other one emotionally, and because they are feeling so much pain that they wish they could express and talk about, but are unable to do so, they slowly begin to hate their partner, not out of choice, but rather out of necessity. The truth is that no single person wants to feel so much pain that they can't express or solve, so when a person feels this much pain, they are unable to keep loving the perceived source of their pain, and unconsciously they may begin to hate their partner. The hatred begins over little things. They get irritated by things their partner does around them, and they get irritated by their partner's presence even when the partner is doing nothing wrong. This intense feeling of hate is very dangerous. It overshadows everything in the marriage and becomes very obvious. The partner who is dealing with contempt becomes very uninterested in their partner, and they prefer to be disengaged rather than to involve themselves in any activity at all. It could also happen that both partners in the marriage feel this about each other. If this is the situation, then there is most likely going to be a separation between the couple because there's no one who will be willing to make things work anymore. The breeding of hatred and resentment usually comes from a piled up of unresolved issues. Sexual intimacy is very important in a marriage because it plays a significant role in helping the partners get closer to each other. When couples are sexually intimate with each other, it means they're still able to give out a significant part of their bodies and hearts to their partner. Essentially, it means that they are still willing to be vulnerable with their spouse, to connect deeply, and to express their love towards each other. But if there is a cessation of sexual intimacy within spouses, then it would mean that they are not making any extra effort in building any sort of closeness or connection between each other. This would mean that they are not interested in expressing their love or desire towards each other anymore. And when there's a marriage with no expression of love or desire of any form, there would surely be problems. The loss of sexual intimacy could have happened as a result of several things. It could be that there's a lack of attraction between the couples, and it could be a result of unresolved issues in the marriage. Usually, it can be hard for a partner to give out themselves sexually if they feel deeply hurt and offended by the other partner. And the loss of sexual intimacy may be because one or both partners are taking on making their marriage. Whatever the cause may be, a loss of sexual intimacy in marriage is a sign that a divorce may be on the way. Fighting is very common among married couples and people who are dating or in a relationship. However, there's a broad line between the normal fighting that occurs in a relationship to what happens when a marriage is strained. When divorce is imminent, there would be an increase in the frequency of fights between a couple. They would fight over insignificant things and fight over things they used to let go of easily before, and it'll be as though there's always a reason to fight with each other. As couples grow more with each other, they experience different parts of themselves. They get to see the ugly parts of each other, and over time, the tension of disagreements that they may have bottled up for several months or years just pops up and causes excessive arguments. This sort of piling up of issues causes one or both partners to be bringing up issues from the past and making it into major issues for the present. This sort of attitude causes the fight to expand and grow into a big ball of messy issues. If you and your spouse have been constantly moving from arguing over one issue to another issue from the past, then divorce may be lurking around in your marriage. Observe the intensity of the argument. In a healthy relationship, the arguments are not too intense. Usually one or both partners just gives up and lets go of the issue. But in a shaky marriage, when arguments are going on, both partners just want to prove that they are right and there's no care for the other partner. Each person is being selfish and only wants to prove a point and will go to any length to prove their point. They will bring up the past, manipulate the other partner, and even insult their partner just to win the argument. If things are this bad in a constant mode, then divorce may be near. Another thing that could happen is that the excessive fights may take a sudden U-turn. It may get to a new level where one of the partners doesn't even bother to fight with the other person. Perhaps there's an argument ongoing and one person is shouting and pouring down heads and buckets about what's going on instead of the other person talking back or trying to calm their partner down. They could remain quiet and be uninvolved in the ongoing argument. When it reaches this stage, it's because the partner feels tired of fighting and strongly believes that there's nothing more that can repair the damage to the marriage. It can also be that both partners don't even bother to fight or talk about the pending issues, even when it's obvious that nothing is going well in the marriage. This sort of nonchalant behavior implies that both partners are no longer committed to making things work between them. Another sign of divorce in a marriage is that the two partners communicate less and less with each other. There's reduced frequency and intensity of communication between the spouses. When couples who used to feel that they could talk for ongoing several hours without feeling bored or pressured now suddenly barely ask each other about their days or activities, then something may be seriously going on. Reduced communication between spouses can signify a lack of intentionality. It means one or both partners are not making the effort to reach out and get to know more about each other or maintain their relationship. There's a big problem if both of you are unable to discuss the major issues that you're experiencing in the marriage. A lack of communication implies a total lack of growth and intimacy. If a couple is not growing closer, then they most definitely are growing farther from each other, and the farther couples grow from each other, the more likely they are to separate. Communication is one of the bases of maintaining a marriage. It's through communication that couples resolve issues. It's through communication that things get better. And it's through communication that love is expressed. So if communication is at a non-existent level, then a divorce may happen. Reduced communication may play out in the time couples desire to spend together. A happy couple are more likely to feel safe in each other's presence and want each other's company, but it is a different story for a marriage that is on a red line. A sign of divorce is the reduced desire to spend time together or spend time doing something together. Number 5. Your partner's interests don't motivate you anymore. One sign that divorce may happen in a marriage is that partners don't feel committed to the dreams, goals, and desires of their partners anymore. When things are going well, spouses are usually rooting for each other. They do their best to be present in each other's lives and support each other's dreams. But when there's a change, then there could be a problem. When one or both partners no longer cares about helping the other person achieve goals or dreams, or they no longer care about the things that make them happy, it could lead to a loss of commitment. This loss of commitment and a reduced desire to make each other's partners happy can indicate a total lack of care in the marriage and the partner, and when one or both partners no longer care about each other, a divorce isn't too far away from them.